Henry was what you'd call a good man, the kind of guy who believed in forever. For 5 years, he and Grace were inseparable. He pictured their future painted in broad, happy strokes. A house with a small garden. Maybe a dog, and growing old together. He supported her dreams, celebrated her wins, and held her through her losses. He was loyal, steadfast, and utterly devoted. To him, Grace was the one. There was no plan B, but one day the picture shattered. Grace sat him down, her eyes avoiding his. The words were cold, clinical. She had met someone else. A man named Alex, who she said offered her a different kind of excitement, a spark she claimed had faded between them. Henry was blindsided. He couldn't understand. How could 5 years of shared history of love and laughter be erased by a fleeting spark? He pleaded, he asked what he did wrong, what he could fix. But her mind was made up. She was choosing Alex. The days that followed were a blur of pain for Henry. Every corner of his apartment held a memory of Grace. The coffee mug she always used, the blanket they snuggled under, the faint scent of her perfume on a pillow. He felt a profound emptiness, a hollow ache in his chest that wouldn't go away. His friends tried to cheer him up, taking him out, telling him he'd find someone better. But Henry wasn't ready to hear it. He was still reeling from the betrayal, lost in a sea of confusion and heartbreak. He tried to distract himself by pouring all his energy into his work as a software developer. The complex lines of code were a welcome escape from the chaos in his mind. He worked late, took on extra projects, anything to keep from thinking about Grace and Alex. The pain was still there. A constant hum beneath the surface, but work gave him a sense of purpose, a small anchor in the storm. Meanwhile, Grace was living her new, exciting life with Alex. They were the picture-perfect couple on social media, exotic vacations, fancy dinners, romantic gestures plastered for the world to see. Each post felt like a small, sharp jab to Henry's heart. He knew he should block her, stop looking, but morbid curiosity kept him coming back. He saw her smiling, seemingly happier than ever, and it twisted the knife deeper. He wondered if their 5 years meant anything to her at all. One night, scrolling through his feed, he saw a post from Alex. It was a picture of him proposing to Grace on a beach at sunset, and she was showing off a massive diamond ring. The caption read, she said, "Yes, the start of our forever. Forever." The word echoed in Henry's mind, a cruel mockery of the promises she once made to him. That was the breaking point. Seeing her so readily promise forever to someone else, after so short a time, finally severed the last thread of hope he'd been clinging to. The sadness began to curdle into something else. It wasn't hatred, not exactly. It was a cold, hard resolve. He realized that moping and wallowing wasn't going to change anything. It wouldn't bring her back, and more importantly, he didn't want her back anymore. The woman he loved wouldn't have done this. The only thing he could control was himself. He decided then and there that he was done being the victim of his story. It was time to become the hero. This decision sparked a transformation. Henry started channeling his obsessive work ethic into self-improvement. He hit the gym not for revenge, but for himself. The physical exertion was a release, melting away stress and building confidence. He traded late-night coding sessions for cooking classes and started exploring hobbies he'd long forgotten. He reconnected with old friends, went hiking, and even took a solo trip he'd always wanted to take. He was rebuilding his life, piece by piece, not for anyone else, but for his own happiness. He also had a brilliant idea at work. He'd been toying with a concept for a new app, one that simplified project management for creative teams. Fueled by his newfound focus, he poured his heart and soul into it. He spent months developing, refining, and perfecting his vision. He launched the app, and to his surprise, it took off. It was intuitive, user-friendly, and solved a real problem in the market. Tech blogs started writing about it. Companies began adopting it. His little side project was quickly becoming a big deal. Within 2 years, Henry's app was acquired by a major tech firm for a sum of money that was life-changing. He was no longer just a software developer. He was a successful entrepreneur. He was happy, fulfilled, and financially secure, all on his own terms. One day, an email landed in his inbox. The name on it made his heart skip a beat. Grace. He hesitated for a moment before opening it. The email was long and rambling. She wrote about how things with Alex had fallen apart. The initial excitement had faded, replaced by arguments and incompatibility. The fancy lifestyle was a facade, built on debt and insecurity. Alex wasn't the man she thought he was. She said she'd been following Henry's success from afar and was so proud of him. She admitted she had made a terrible mistake, that she was foolish and immature. She missed him. She missed what they had, and she ended the email with a simple, desperate question. Can we get coffee and talk? Henry read the email twice. A few years ago, this message would have been everything he wanted. He would have dropped everything to see her. But now, he thought about the man he was back then, broken and pleading. And he looked at the man he had become, confident, successful, and genuinely happy. He had built a new life, a better life, from the ashes of the old one. He took a deep breath and began to type his reply. It was short and polite. Gracie wrote, "Thank you for reaching out. I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. I truly wish you all the best in the future." He paused for a moment, then added one final sentence. "As for me, I'm happy where I am, and I'm looking forward, not back." He hit send without a second thought and closed his laptop. A sense of peace washed over him. This wasn't revenge in the traditional sense. He hadn't sought to hurt her or gloat about his success. The best revenge, he realized, wasn't making her regret leaving him. It was building a life so good that her absence no longer mattered. He had found his own forever, and it had nothing to do with her. And that was the sweetest victory of all. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.